Hello there, and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit. The man seated next to me is the 2006 Chubby Bunny champion. His name is Mike Roth.
You've been celebrating the Goonies anniversary, haven't you? That wasn't Chubby Bunny.
No, that was Truffle Shuffle.
Truffle Shuffle.
Chubby Bunny's where you shove all the marshmallows in your mouth. Have to say Chubby Bunny.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean,
so many records you hold.
I am good at so many things. Sometimes I forget. Good thing there's a Wikipedia page that keeps it all track.
I keep it updated at all times. So many accolades
you
for
ever try
Mr. Mike
roasting
Roth.
them after they're in your mouth?
No.
It's so dangerous.
That sounds very dangerous.
Very dangerous. Don't do it.
Do not try that at home, kids. This week we have a couple of movies to talk about on the marquee. One of them is a huge movie, but we'll get to that in just a moment. First, Mike, what do we have on the marquee?
Well, I thought we were talking about Captain Underpants as the huge movie.
Of course.
Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, expect more. Directed by David Soren, based on the epic novels by Dave
Pilkey, yeah.
Pilkey, yeah. Basically what you have is two kids who love to make comic books. You got one guy who's great at illustrating, the other one just loves to tell stories. The problem is they're in a fuddy-duddy school where the principal does not allow fun.
Oh, no.
Sounds like the plot of most movies based on two friends in a school. These practical jokers, they decide that they're going to hypnotize the principal as a last-ditch effort to get out of trouble and turn him into the hero that they made up, Captain Underpants. Principal played by... What's that?
Principal Krupp.
Krupp, played by Ed Helms. He switches personality and he becomes kind of a happier person, yet a lot more dangerous because he doesn't have any superpowers at this point, and he's just kind of just blinking at death, just shaking his hand at it. It's really a pretty bad situation for him. Later on in the movie, we ended up getting a bad guy, Professor Poopy Pants. Thank you for laughing.
That's the laugh line in the movie.
Played by Nick Kroll, who did a fantastic job with his German accent. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. It's a movie based on a book that a lot of young readers like because of the massive amount of potty humor. One thing that I liked about the movie is they don't try to disguise themselves as an educational film. They admit in the movie that this is all potty humor, but potty humor is funny. So
I mean, literally, some of the books are based on talking toilets.
Yeah.
I mean, this is literally potty humor.
Yeah, we have a weaponized toilet in this.
Yeah, and that's what this is. And I've read this entire series, I think, 3 different times to 3 different kids that I have in the house. And it's fun. I mean, David Pilkey is a really great writer. He's got several different series that are all similar. Because he writes his books, he animates them like comic books.
Yeah.
They look like they're drawn out, so it's fun to read through. And the characters of George and Harold, the 2 kids, there's a fun chemistry between them as 2 best friends. I think that was what was missing for me in this movie. As hard as they tried to make you realize they're best friends, the fact that Principal Krupp is always trying to separate them, like they're next door neighbors.
Yeah.
They act like they're never going to see each other again. That's kind of the humor in the book series to me. It's like as a kid thinking, I will never see my best friend again if we are in different classes, even though he lives next door. And the drama. And this, for whatever reason, for me, it felt like this movie just kind of missed the boat on a lot of the humor. And the other thing that I had an issue with was George Beard is voiced by Kevin Hart.
Okay.
And it felt like Kevin Hart, he didn't try to change his voice at all or to take on a different voice. He just went with Kevin Hart voice. And so all I kept hearing was, oh, that's Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Kevin Hart. And Thomas Middleditch was Harold, his friend, and he had a little different of a voice. And so it felt like, oh, there's Harold and Kevin Hart. And it was the same thing with Pets. When he was the bunny, Kevin Hart voiced the bunny. It was like, oh, there's Kevin Hart as the bunny.
I think a lot of people do that because they like Kevin Hart and they know Kevin Hart is a draw, so they don't want to disguise his voice.
It's distracting to me.
Yeah, it is.
Because he has such a recognizable voice.
I did take someone who was also an expert in Captain Underpants, and they said they did stay very faithful to the book, even to the point where I guess I have not read them, but there's like a flip part where you can flip it, and that was featured in the film.
There's I mean, David Pilkey does a lot with these books, a lot of fun things where it's interactive for the kids too, things for them to do, and he puts out different books that he wants them to help write in. Mm-hmm. And it's genius, but it just felt like, for me, that this movie just kind of, it lacked a lot of the real humor that I loved about the series.
Well, if the books are interactive and movies aren't interactive, I could see why they would miss
Here was the telling
target.
thing to me. I brought my 11-year-old son, who is kind of still in this range, along with his best friend, and my 11-year-old gives every movie 5 stars when he walks out of it. He just loves movies, and every movie, Dad, that was a great movie, 5 stars. Mm-hmm. This movie, we get out, he goes, probably 3.5 stars, which is shocking to me.
Yeah.
And then later on the night, he goes, maybe closer to 2.5 stars.
Oh, no.
That's your base.
Yeah.
Right there. And his best friend, the same thing, was kind of like, yeah, it was all right. You know, it didn't hold my interest as much as I thought it would.
They had a song number in there that kind of threw me off. I really could not get into this movie, but I just assumed it was my age. Mm-hmm. I don't find that just saying poop is hilarious.
Silly.
But if people in that age range are saying that it's not that good, then wow.
So ultimately, what did you give Captain Underpants?
I gave it a 2. I enjoyed the company that I had. I brought my son to it. I thought it was great, having him watch it. But me, I just did not get the humor.
Yeah, I concur.
It was over my head.
I concur. I give it 2 stars as well. 2 out of 5. Not a great effort. Don't think we're going to be getting a lot of Captain Underpants sequels.
Did it make money this weekend?
I mean, look what it's up against.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Tough. There wasn't a whole lot of leftover money after our next movie, which we are talking about right now. The next movie on the marquee we have is the big one for this week. It is, of course, DC's newest film, Wonder Woman, starring Gal Gadot as Diana Prince, Wonder Woman herself. And this movie is, Diana is basically recounting her origins. So this movie is kind of her telling her story. We see her at the beginning looking back at a picture and going, I fondly remember those times. And here we go. And we find out that, because this is a full origin story, that the Amazonians were created by Zeus to defend against Ares when and they're hidden on an island called Thermopolis, and Diana is created specially to help fight against Ares when he decides to come back and try and take out the humans again. She is the last line of defense. As they are hidden on their island, man arrives, and he also brings the war with him, which means Germans, always. Diana is, she's kind of one of her things is she is very compassionate about struggle and about people suffering. And she meets Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, and he tells her about the suffering that is being caused by the war. And she says that's got to be because of Ares, because that is the legend she has been told. Ares is causing the suffering. I have to go. She sets out to go and to take on Ares. And she believes that if she kills Ares, that evil men will be released from his spell, and the world will be good again. Mm-hmm. Man will no longer be evil. Wars will not exist. If she can just take out Ares, she has her mission. And kind of one of the great things about this movie, as it is just kind of her on a revenge tale. I mean, at one point it is literally almost like an Inigo Montoya, where she's like, my name is Diana. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I mean, it is her on the revenge tale, but it's way, way more than that. The movie takes so much time to develop these characters and to develop relationships. And so one of the things I really enjoy about this film is you meet Chris Pine. I mean, he's a spy. You meet that he has a team.
Yeah.
And in a lot of movies, these guys would just be background characters. In movies like Captain America, he has his team. All you know is Bucky and a bunch of other guys.
Yep.
In this movie, you learn who these guys are. You have Chief. You have Sammy. You have Charlie. they all have characteristics about them. You know, Sammy wanted to be an actor when he grew up. Charlie loves to sing and can't shoot straight.
And they spend the perfect amount of time on these guys. They didn't spend too much time where you feel like, hey, let's hurry it up.
Let's get back to it.
They
but
give
they're
you
real
enough
people.
where you feel like they're real without having to invest too much time to take away from the big role, and that is, you know, Wonder Woman.
Obviously. And one of the things is because Wonder Woman, you know, she goes into this world that she's never seen before. So she's naive.
Yeah.
But it's not, they don't just bang the drum on this fish out of water story.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of movies will just keep going after that easy joke, that low-hanging fruit. She's passionate, she's naive, and there are a few jokes, but it's not just her like, what's this, what's that, what's this, I don't understand.
Yeah.
She figures out, she's a smart lady.
Yeah.
And so I like that they didn't just hang with that one. And it's so interesting how they gave her so much depth, and how like her greatest strength and her greatest weakness is her compassion. Mm-hmm. And that ultimately, you know, she truly believes that love and goodness can overwhelm things. I really enjoyed the way that Patty Jenkins took her time to craft this story.
Oh, yeah.
The characters of Steve Trevor and Diana Prince were just great characters.
Yeah.
What do you think about this film?
I think you are right on all these points. This is a great movie. Right now, you're getting a lot of media talking about it's great for women, and we have a women director and stuff like that. But really, that takes away a little bit from the fact that this is one of the best origin stories out there. It's not because it's female, it's because it's fantastic. This is a well-told story with a great character. Wonder Woman, she's part of the main three of the DC, and she knocked out it's a home run for this. Batman versus Superman, they all really pale in comparison. And Wonder Woman is on top. She really is.
Because I think a lot of it, too, is those movies are so dark and dreary.
Yeah.
And that's my one huge complaint with it. And this movie, I think there's the dichotomy between the dreariness of man's world in this movie when she comes to London and she's in the war, and the dreariness of that offset against the world that she came from, and how beautiful this paradise is.
Yeah.
And everything within it. And it's not just her fighting in the night during a pouring rainstorm like those movies seem to always be.
Yeah.
This movie also offers hope. Hope is laughed at in the other movies. Hope is the driving force for this movie.
Yeah.
Hope and love kind of push this movie.
But it's not sappy.
Not at all.
It's just, this is a belief that she has, and everybody else believes it with her. It's fantastically done. I'm going to just go over my flaws, because they're very few.
Yep.
There was some lulls. There was some little points in time, like when Diana has to go out to, or she goes to a village that just recently got gassed. That, even though it was an important scene, it caused a little bit of lag. Dialogue for Ares in the end was laughably bad, almost cliche.
Yep.
But Ares himself, I really enjoyed that whole interesting. I'm not even going to say anything because I want everybody to really get the impact of this movie. But that's it. And the Zack Snyder color palette. But you know what? It works in a World War I setting where it doesn't work in modern time setting.
One of the things I really enjoyed, too, was that the costume reveal for her was kind of teased a couple of times. She's got it under a trench coat, and a couple of times she starts to take it off. They're like, no, cover up. And so you see her first real fight scene where she's actually using the power she knows she has. She's just wearing a trench coat fighting in an alley.
Yeah.
And then finally, when there's that great scene of her in no man's land, when finally it comes off, and there's Wonder Woman, and it's time to do business. And it's like halfway through the movie at this point. That's gutsy, and it pulls it off greatly. I mean, I really enjoyed that because the impact is so much more than when she walks up that ladder and boom, there's Wonder Woman. You're like, yes, here we go.
Another thing I love about this movie, you really don't know how powerful she is. And Batman, Superman, stuff like that, it seems like they just blow all their cards at once.
Yeah.
Where this one, you gradually find out how powerful she is. And she starts off small. Well, not small according to normal men, but according to a superhero world, she starts off just beating an entire army instead of going right to exploding entire neighborhoods like they do in a lot of current movies.
Well, and she is hesitant with her powers at first.
Yeah.
And I like that. I mean, this movie really builds a strong foundation of character rather than just showing off powers.
Yeah.
That you build the character, make you care about the character, and then watch as she kind of learns these powers. And her dynamic with Steve Trevor. I think Chris Pine is an okay actor.
I've heard you, yeah.
You know, and I've seen him be really good last year in Hell or High Water. Thought he was really good.
Yep.
His dynamic with her in this movie was great. And I've seen this movie now a couple of times, and I'm falling more in love with their relationship and his character and how honest they are to each other. Mm-hmm. I really like the time they took with it.
And Steve and his rest of his group, they're not helpless. But I like the fact that they were fighting. And of course, Wonder Woman is the all-powerful, but it was like a team. It really was. I had a feel that this is a team. Wonder Woman really didn't need a team, but they're helpful. You know, they're very helpful. This is actually a really fantastic movie. I really can't tell people enough. You have to see this. Out of all the superhero movies, yeah, Logan was really good, but for an origin story, this is the one.
It didn't fall into a lot of the cliches that we get with superhero origin stories.
Except for Ares dialogue.
Here's one of the things that I've been really interested over the last week that I haven't heard a lot of outrage over that I've heard about in previous movies, specifically Man of Steel, was this movie, Wonder Woman is killing fools. She is not joking around with how she is killing people. People are getting swords stuck to them. She is putting swords through people's hearts. She's on the battlefield. She's swinging and slashing.
Yeah.
And when Superman snapped one neck, everyone's up in arms. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, there's a big difference. You could snap necks of aliens and Nazis, or any German soldier.
Yeah. I just think that's interesting. I've heard no outrage like, wait, Wonder Woman's just killing people?
Unfortunately, I think a lot of the media is stuck on the fact that this is considered a female role, but
that's ridiculous.
I want them to stop thinking about this. This is a great movie. It's not a section of, hey, look at this. No, she beats out all the superheroes. This isn't a class of her own. This is a majorly great movie.
Incredibly impressed by both Patty Jenkins. I'm really impressed by Gal Gadot.
Yeah,
I really was doubtful
job.
of her as Wonder Woman because in previous things I'd seen her and she didn't show a great penchant for acting. No. And I was a little worried that how's she going to pull off being believable holding a movie on her own.
Yeah.
And she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
I mean, like you say, some of my only issues with this movie are I thought there was a couple of moments in here where there was some really wonky CGI. Specifically, in the beginning, there's a moment where young Diana jumps off a cliff, and there's some terrible green screen. Okay. I mean, it looks like it doesn't look like she's falling because her hair isn't moving, and like scenery's moving behind her, and like she's sitting there. There's a couple other moments in there where I thought that the CGI was a little yeesh. Towards the end, too, there's a scene, and you come and find out that she filmed the final battle scene where she's just running through fools. She's 5 months pregnant when she's doing that. So maybe that's why it didn't look like she was running full speed in that scene. Mm-hmm. Again, like it looks like she's just kind of running and things are coming at her. And I thought that both times I've seen it now, I kind of cringe when we get our first dialogue with Chief. The Indian on the team, the Native American, and he is delivering his dialogue like he was just cold reading it for the first time. I'm a friend. I do this. Like, okay, put a little passion into this thing, man. Outside of that, I really have no major issues with this.
How did you feel about the villains, Dr.
I loved all three of them.
Yeah.
I loved all three of the villains.
Yeah.
I like that you didn't exactly know where you were going through this movie. Mm-hmm. There wasn't an A to B plot line. That there was, we're going after different people for different reasons, and it wasn't just one main bad guy. If I get him, this happens.
I love how they introduced it. I really wanted to know more about Dr. Maru's or Dr. Poison's reason.
Yeah.
And you could tell there was a lot of emotion, a lot of anguish, a lot of hate in her, but it was in a way where I wanted to know more about her backstory.
Yeah.
Why is she the way she is?
Oh, and there's that great moment between her and Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to kind of get in her good graces.
Do the spy seduce.
And you're like, oh, it's working. And then you see her just turn, and you see that she's diabolical.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, she had a lot going on with her character. I could have standed some more about her too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I was really blown away. I mean, I was really excited for this movie. The first viewing, I was impressed. The second viewing, I actually enjoyed it much more.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, after the second viewing, I picked up a lot of things. And like you talked about the lull, I thought there was a lull in it as well. But the second time I watched it, the lull was not there for me the second time. I was more engrossed in the story at that point.
I found it to be an important scene, but on my first viewing, I assumed that, for me, that was a lull.
I agree.
Important, but it just...
I agree with you as well. And it just
Yeah.
seemed like the second time I watched it, I don't know, maybe I was more engrossed in the character. Maybe I was picking up things. But I was on board the entire thing. It was really enjoyable. And I don't know the last time I saw a supervillain with a handlebar mustache. I like that. I like
right.
villains with handlebar mustaches.
Yeah.
Give me more of those. And the outrage over Wonder Woman and the pseudo controversies, people just need to get over this because it is made up. It is ridiculous. Enjoy a great movie and stop trying to find reasons to excuse it or find reasons to nitpick it or whatever.
No, this is I think it's a distraction of a fine piece of film. It really, people need to stop concentrating on. These are minor things. This is a fantastic film. Everyone really should see this. If you have any love of superheroes or nostalgia over Wonder Woman, or you like action, or you just like to see something that's in World War I every once in a while.
I like coming out of a DC superhero movie feeling good instead of moping out of there like, oh, that was depressing.
Yeah.
I kind of like walking out going, yeah. I'm excited now. And it did them a huge favor because, I mean, it was getting a little tense with DC, and they have not been having great times behind the camera with losing directors and having problems and constant rewrites and reshoots, and there's a lot of drama going on. They needed this. Yeah. They needed a win leading into Justice League.
I ended up growing into Suicide Squad, but it shouldn't have been like that. The first Superman's not that great, but it's not terrible. Yeah. Batman versus, both agreed was terrible.
This is the first complete movie where, I agree. Man of Steel, it's like, yeah, it's fun, but. Suicide Squad, but.
Yeah.
This is the first one where top to bottom you go, it's just a good movie.
Yeah.
And I recommend it. The other ones I have to say, well, if you like this, you'll probably enjoy this. Or it's more of a guilty pleasure, but this one's like, no, go see it. Take somebody with you.
Yeah, and it's, 2.5 hours long, too.
Yeah, 2 hours, 26 minutes.
It really doesn't feel that
at
all.
Absolutely. So here's my problem. I went into this, I gave my score, and as we're talking, my score has gone up.
Oh, no.
So the score on the screen is not going to represent, and I've been kind of teetering between two, so I gave Wonder Woman 4 stars, a very, very strong 4 stars. I mean, kind of teetering between the two. And after our discussion, it's a 4.5 for me.
Awesome. I gave it 4.5.
Yeah.
I was teetering on...
You had the right score.
Yeah, I was teetering on 5.
Yeah.
But I'm sticking with 4.5 because it's great. There was that lull, the Zack Snyder, the black grays and stuff. I mean, it works in this movie, but
we've seen a lot of it.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of it.
Absolutely. So as we move into our movie throwback, Mike, I have to say, Mike often picks our throwbacks for us. I really enjoy it. He comes up with great ideas. And so for this week's throwback, I want you to explain why we are throwing back to the movie that we are throwing back to.
Well, in both our movies, wearing your underwear seems to be the norm, right?
Wearing underwear on the outside.
Underwear on the outside. We got Captain Underpants and Wonder Woman, even though in this one it's more of an armor, but in the past it's been underwear. It's all underwear. Rocky Horror Picture Show, underwear, is the norm in Rocky Horror Picture Show. It is a fantastic movie. If you have not heard about Rocky Horror Picture Show, you're obviously under a rock because this is still played in almost every major city every week where people who love this cult film dress like the characters, they act out the scenes, they ask it questions, the movies answer back. It's fantastic. They play act it in front of the movie, but for you people that really don't want to venture out, this is one of Tim Curry's best films.
And his first role.
Is this?
This is his first theatrical role, I believe.
I couldn't figure out. I was thinking, is this my favorite Tim Curry? But unfortunately, Tim
He's-
Curry is such a complicated character where he's done fantastic things over and over and over again. So I'm just going to say this is one of my favorite roles, but not favorite.
I absolutely love this movie, and Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenfurter is tremendous. Like, this movie is bizarre.
Oh, it's
but
bizarre.
It's Tim Curry's charisma that keeps it from just veering out of control and going off the cliff. This movie could very easily be a bad late night movie.
Yeah.
And the main thing that keeps it is I can't take my eyes off of Tim Curry in this movie.
Well, you also have the music, and the music still gets played every year around Halloween.
Sure.
You have to hear the time warp again.
And you have a young Susan Sarandon, a young Billy Bostwick. Great characters,
Meatloaf.
fun music, Meatloaf, of course. Riff Raff is a weird character.
Love Riff
it's just,
Raff.
it's an insane movie that it shouldn't work.
Yeah.
But it's so great, and Tim Curry is so tremendous.
I love how it starts off like a cliche of
Yeah.
old 50s movies.
Yep.
You have the proper couple that get their car breaks
Oh,
down,
boy.
and then
There's a castle.
all of a sudden their conservative kind of dull life blows every which way once they knock on Dr. Frankenfurter's door, and they go inside and they are having. They learn a lot about life.
They do learn a lot about it. It is a trip, and I really enjoy it. I highly recommend. Now, I saw this movie the first time in the theater, like you said, with the group.
Yeah, you were
No idea what I was walking into. That was an experience. I was kind of terrified because I felt like the outsider.
I have not done that because I don't think I want anybody to know this would be my first one. Which
Yeah.
I hear, if it's your first one, you are like a star.
Yeah,
and I don't
it's
want
a
to
little
be a
weird.
star.
It's a little weird. I just wanted to see the movie I'd heard about. but now rewatching it, it's a ton of fun. So go check out Rocky Horror Picture Show. That's a throwback this week.
And if I would recommend you do what Jameson did,
Yeah.
go see it. And then tell me about it, and
Do one of
tell
those
me
midnight showings.
if you want me to go. Just tell me that no one noticed you, and I'll head over.
Perfect. All right, let's take a look ahead at what is going to be coming out the weekend of June 16th. Sir, we are going to have 3 movies on the marquee that week. The first one is the Tupac Shakur biopic, All Eyes on Me.
Yeah.
The next one we have is the maybe final chapter of Disney Pixar's Cars. We have Cars 3, the last ride of Lightning McQueen.
It's never ending.
It might not be
It's
the
never
last
gonna
ride,
end.
but it is Cars 3. And last but not least, we have Scarlett Johansson's new movie about a bunch of girls going out. It's going to turn into a, quote, rough night.
Oh.
Hey-ho. That will be coming out June 16th. Before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, The Palace. We truly enjoy you, and thank you for sponsoring our show. As I've said before, there's no place I'd rather be on a hot summer day than sitting in one of those dream loungers watching one of these great films. I'll go watch Wonder Woman again this week just to go.
And they keep
Sit in my
those
dream
things
lounge.
so comfortably cool. And during the summertime,
J13, don't even think about sitting in J13 because this guy will be in that seat.
not if I get my
I don't like
tickets
that.
first.
I don't like that one bit. If you want to find more from us, we encourage you to go find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter at Real Reviews TV. We'll get you where you need to be on Twitter. Real Reviews on Facebook. You can also find us on YouTube, Real Reviews, KSUN. You can find us all over the place. There's 164 episodes if you go to ksun.tv. Oh man, you can watch hair colors move and beards change and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
The constant is mediocre reviews from this show.
We should do a review of our favorite review shows.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Our favorite episodes, do a review of those?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that a lot. Next week, we are going to be talking about It Comes at Night, The Mummy, and Megan Levy. Those will be our marquee movies next week. That's right. You can go see The Mummy. I've been watching all the Brendan Fraser movies, getting ready for more Mummy.
I am
And then I
going
was
to
told
see-
he's not in this.
It comes at night tomorrow morning. Yeah.
That seems backwards.
Sorry.
You
That's
need to
the
go
only
see it.
time I
Go
got
see that
time.
late at night. Well, we'll find out all about that next week when we reconvene. But until that time, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.